Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Hummingbird Assembly. I am Reverend Michelle Scrimsher-Brown, and it's my pleasure to lead you all in our discussion this week. We are an assembly of people who will teach each other to find the miracle of joyful living from life circumstance to accomplish that which seems impossible. And we gather each week to stimulate thought, create connection, and expand consciousness. I'm very excited today. We have a bunch of announcements to go through. They're the same as always. But if you would like to submit your awakening stories, we are collecting those at admin@hummingbirdAssembly.com. The intention is to take these stories of when you realized that your life was more your responsibility than someone else's, and when you started to realize you were a conscious co-creator of your experience rather than a victim of fate. Our intention is to collect these stories and to compile them all into ebooks that are available on social media for those who are just starting the awakening process. So if you wanted to submit, again, the email address is admin@hummingbirdAssembly.com. Our boxes are over by the lovely Michelle. The white box is where we invite you to make your donation to help us pay for the rent and support the ongoing costs of burgeoning church. The more important box, in my opinion, however, is the green box. And that box is where I invite you to leave your discussion topic suggestions, because this is your assembly, and I would like to make sure that our conversation is relevant to what you are experiencing in your day-to-day life. If you want to discuss your topic sooner rather than later, because this week we are taking on, I think it's the 8th law? Oh, it's the 10th. It is 10th. The 10th law. If you don't want to wait another 10 weeks to discuss your suggestion, please just write on your piece of paper to discuss sooner or before the laws are out or something like that, so that we can bring it to the front, because these laws aren't going anywhere. They're called universal for a reason. They've been around a long time, so we can come back to them. Is there anything else that I want to add? Today's our annual general meeting, so next week we will have some announcements for you that will involve the installing of our new board of directors, which will be elected by the membership today. And we'll also have information about some other upcoming things for Hummingbird Assembly. So if you are not a regular attender, make sure that you stay in tune on social media with us. We are on Facebook at Hummingbird Assembly. That's facebook.com/Hummingbird Assembly. And we also have a webpage, hummingbirdAssembly.com, which I think maybe perhaps sometime in the near future someone's going to figure out how to do something with, and we'll have information posted on there too. So stay tuned, because there are some changes coming for March. And I think that's all. So let us begin then with our opening intention. May I come to understand that blessings are everywhere, that my attitude will affect outcomes, that challenges are often gifts in disguise. May I come to trust that most things can get better with time, that my instincts and gut feelings have value, that a positive attitude makes things go smoother. May I come to see that I have many skills and talents I can use, that I am a positive influence on many people, and that there are those around me who wish me well. May I come to value that today is a blessing to be enjoyed, that each person is unique and important, and that each moment of my life has meaning. So nice to hear a round chorus of voices. Okay, so today, universal law number 10. I don't know if we're going to move on to a different law, because I think this is going to be a pretty juicy one. In the last few weeks, we've really only been discussing one law at a time. But if we do move on from the first law, then we have a list. I don't have to really have a plan. The 10th law is the universal law of manifestation. It says, everything manifest begins as a thought, an idea. Ideas and experiences create beliefs, which in turn create your reality. If you are unhappy with your current reality, you must change your beliefs and your behavior. Beliefs can be changed when you recognize those that are not working for you and begin programming what will create success and harmony in your life. The unlimited creative power of your mind, through dedication, awareness, and training, can be the wisdom to rise above your karma. Within physical and spiritual laws, you can manifest any reality you desire to experience. In regard to changing your behavior, you must decide which disharmonious behavior you want to eliminate. And then be aware that you don't have to change how you feel about something to affect it, if you are willing to change what you are doing. And that's that.
That was the mouthful. Honey, there's chairs over there, back row.
Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry.
It's okay. Should I read this all again? Or shall we take it piece at a piece first?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. Probably
Piece by piece. Okay. Everything manifest begins as a thought, an idea. Ideas and experiences create beliefs, which in turn create your reality. Shall we stop there? The next line is, if you are unhappy with your current reality, you must change your beliefs and your behaviors.
I would agree with that.
Discussion closed.
Mic drop.
But what does it mean?
Well, if
I mean, it's not enough to say we agree with it. What does it mean?
I question it somewhat because it says if you're unhappy with your current situation, you have to change your belief
Or your behavior.
or your behavior.
Because at the end it says, you don't have to change how you feel about something. You just have to change what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And I guess you can remove yourself from it. If it's an external something that you're unhappy with.
So let's take an innocuous example, traffic.
Right.
Most of us, when we get caught in traffic,
Right.
get grumpy about it. Oh my God, if I hit one more red light, I'm going to hit something. Oh my God, why is this happening to me right now?
Right.
Right? Get out of my way! So I don't think we necessarily need to love traffic and slow down, but we are choosing to respond in that way about something over which we have very limited control.
And that's the thing. You have to realize what you have control over. Because you can't change all those external things,
What's that serenity prayer?
you know?
I
That's
always
the
wish that when I'm stuck in traffic, I'm trying to change my thought process, and I think about parting of the seas. I go, parting of the
So you get biblical in your road rage.
I do, but I've never read the Bible.
Old Testament.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like parting of the seas, and then I also think about extending time. Because usually it's time that I'm pressured by. So I try and just go, well, I'm going to get there when I'm going to get there, and I'll just extend.
So are you changing your belief there, or
I
are you
guess.
changing your behavior?
Probably both. Because I get happy thinking that I can part the seas. Right? And then I who knows, sometimes I actually do the most when I do I look back, but change the behavior.
You don't care
In the
what
moment. You're still stuck on that.
Jacqueline?
It's like the
That's
CP24
okay.
screen.
Sorry, ladies.
It's like the CP24 screen that's in the banks and in the doctor's offices and all places. People are so much calmer waiting because they've got something to focus on, reading. That's where before it used to be standing in line. I saw so many people so agitated. I love.
See, I think that's fascinating because you're seeing that through the lens of your perspective, right? But when I see those screens all the time, I'm like, why do I need to be inundated with this useless information?
So,
My response is the opposite. Isn't that fascinating?
I just find that it gives us, me anyways, because a lot of times I'll bring paperwork. If I'm going to be waiting a while, I never get to do it because I'm too busy watching the news and watching everything that's going on that screen.
But what I'm remarking upon is that you see around you everybody is calmer because they have something to pay attention to, whereas I'm seeing everybody's irritated because they're being inundated by useless information. And we're in the same situation.
Yeah.
I love that idea that
behavior.
the truth shifts, right?
I found people are
And that would be my behavior, that I feel irritated by that, where you feel like, oh, thank goodness, I'm not alone here.
It's giving us a purpose,
right?
but also I remember one person going up to the bank teller and blasting them for having that because they too.
I wouldn't blast them, but I might. It was not me. You were not there.
I think what your mom said is perfect. Accept what you have no control over. Change your behavior. Like just accept the fact that there's traffic in front of me. There's maybe somebody cutting me off.
So is accepting it changing a belief?
No. I think that's more behavior.
What belief? The belief that you're stuck in traffic?
Well, obviously, no. The belief that people are pissing you off, or the belief that, like, why do we get angry about traffic? Maybe that's the belief part. We get angry about traffic because we have somewhere to be and people are in our way. Because we feel entitled to parting the seas of traffic to just slide through. What is it that we get angry about?
Pretty much have the belief that it's not working for you. So, funny, this is the reason I'm here, this law. I have no idea. But in May of last year, I reached a point where anxiety at work was spilling over into my personal life. And I was 4 days away from going to the doctor to ask for meds to be able to go to work. And on Thursday night, before my appointment, my doctor's office called and he had retired effective 5 o'clock that day. It's tough luck, you're on your own, basically, right? Nobody's taking over his practice. And I was off on vacation that week and I went, what can I do now? Because I don't have that option. It's going to take me a while to find a new doctor and do all the testing. So what can I do? Because what I'm doing now is not working for me.
Right.
So I went and I was like, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to try Reiki. Like, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to read some stress books. I'm going to start adding in exercise. And I'm going to find some different people. Because this is not working. This is not how I want my life to go.
Amen.
But I had no idea. But I got to that point where I was like, I was backed into a corner and I couldn't figure out, what can I do?
Right. You're going to say something, Jeannie?
I look at it as I learned a formula like 30 years ago that E plus R equals O. So the events of our life plus our responses produces our outcome.
Can you say that again a little slower?
The events of our life plus our responses to them creates our outcomes. So if we don't like the outcome, which is road rage, we can't control the event because you need to drive to where you're going.
Right.
So part of the response is how can you reframe half empty, half full. So it's not changing a belief, it's accepting the situation and impacting, making a choice, how we're going to look at the situation. You know, so you can choose to be, you know, whatever's taking on. Or you can say, wow, okay, breathe. Here I am in this moment. Oh, shit.
Because we need to be authentic.
Yeah. It just, for me, I just like call it what it is. But then it's like, okay, here I am.
Right.
What can I do in this moment? Can I look around and still see the beauty of the day? Can I look around and try to shift something? Play, let's read the license plate game or something.
Right.
That kid's a car. But something to help shift, to take responsibility to my mood in the moment, and how do I shift that to turn it into something better?
Yeah.
Play good music. That's
Yeah,
also happens.
absolutely.
So it takes your,
Just rock on in the car.
Are you ready to say?
yeah, crank it tune.
One of the things that I find too is that when you move into that acceptance, and then you can move further into that creating the change that you want. And so if you get into that powerful point where I know that I have an effect on stuff, and I can make people move out of my way on highways, I can make them speed up on highways, I can make the highways clear up, that kind of stuff. So, it's getting into that place of surrender and then allowance and moving your energy in your own purposeful way.
And sometimes it's not just parting of the seas. Sometimes, if I am going to be late, there's something that I need to miss.
Yes.
Like accepting that, I'm not meant to be there at that time. The reason why this is happening is beyond my own knowledge.
And the forgiveness too, because if somebody cuts me off on the highway, rather than getting the road rage, I just say, thank you for letting me be the person that this happened with, because I can allow them the grace to make an error. And maybe that's because they're distracted because something's happening in their life. Maybe they're just unaware, right? So rather than get upset, it's an allowance that they're human beings.
See, this is the next line. Beliefs can be changed when you recognize those that are not working for you, and you begin programming what will create success and harmony in your life. And that's really what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because who does it hurt if you get upset with that person, really?
Yeah.
They don't know. You're sitting there wearing all that angst and anxiety, and then everything kind of pulls around you that's going to create more angst and anxiety.
Yeah.
But if you surrender and just get into that peace, then.
And if you have road rage, is that not victimhood?
Mm-hmm.
You did that to me.
So, but this is what I was going to say. My husband said to me the other day, how come the kids never complain about you road raging? And I'm like, because when you road rage, it looks like, when I road rage, it's like, oh, I love you, cut off. I love you, victim. I love you in the right-hand turn lane, not turning right. I love you. That's what my road rage looks like now. And my kids laugh at that, right? But it's not to say I don't have these moments, but it's not a victimhood approach. It's not a, why is everybody out to get me? It's, I'm loving me as a victim. I love you, victim. I love you, victim. I love you, victim. I love you late. I love you exactly when you arrive. I love you. This is amazing. Okay. Good, you've moved. Bless you.
But recognizing also sometimes they get in front of you and slow you down, so
Right.
you get caught
By the
speed.
cop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or they wake me up.
A few times.
I guess I've been
Someone and you're like, God, come on, and you're like, oh, cop, and you're like, oh my
Thank
God,
you.
this.
I'm sorry for being a magnanimous asshole.
Why
So
would
what about-
you slow down?
Oh,
Yeah.
The unlimited creative power of your mind through dedication, awareness, and training can be the wisdom to rise above your karma.
Say that again.
Maybe if I can find where I started. The unlimited creative power of your mind through dedication, awareness, and training can be the wisdom to rise above your karma.
So the power of manifestation can outdo karma? And you can go above karma?
Well, with the law of
Or
karma,
transform.
you don't necessarily have to live out your bad karma.
I'm just scrolling back up to that.
You can manifest and pre-program it.
So you know what I was thinking earlier? Like, go to something more serious than
A traffic jam.
And what about, I say, well, I'm happy all the time. And somebody else says, there's no such thing. That's happened a lot. And I feel bad for that person.
And do you tell them in 3
So,
ways?
so there's two things going on there. There's an invitation for you to judge someone so you feel superior, which actually puts you in victimhood.
Well, no, but
You did. You said, I feel sorry for her.
I feel bad that they
That
feel
is
way.
judgment. That is judgment,
Then
which
I'm
makes you
judging.
superior, which pushes you into victimhood, right?
I know.
So your response is actually your egoic response pushing you into victimhood. Oh, she couldn't possibly understand. I feel very sorry for you. I'm going to go over here and be happy. Which is not at all what you said, right? But if we take it to an exaggerated extreme, you can see a little bit more clearly what I'm talking about, right?
I just wanted to add what I heard there when she said she felt sorry for them. I would feel sorry for them that they don't believe they can be happy.
Yes, that's what I meant.
It wasn't that I
Feel
felt-
sorry for is judgment. It doesn't matter what flowers you put around it. It is judgment at the end of the day.
It's compassion.
That's not compassion.
Okay.
Compassion is an authentic recognition of where someone's at and loving them, period.
I have a perfect example.
Period. That's what compassion is. Saying, I feel sorry for you, puts you in a superior state. Compassion is, oh, I love you. I'm deeply sorry for your pain.
But if they're judging her that she can't be happy all the time for no reason.
You don't have to judge her in response.
Okay, so don't.
Because that's what creates the karma, right? No, you do respond. You respond by saying, oh, I love you.
Oh, then they'll hate us even more.
You don't have to say it out loud.
Okay.
It's all your thoughts and your words are the same energetic exchange.
My example with this, I thought I was acting in a loving situation. I donated a kidney to my father like 8-9 years ago, and I was doing it because I genuinely love my father. I would do anything to save
Well,
my
it's
dad.
your dad.
right?
You want
Yeah.
to keep him alive.
But I
I might
found,
give my dad a kidney.
yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I would give my dad a kidney. Relax.
I found that me thinking I was coming from a loving position, I was actually playing victim because me and my dad would fight so much after because he wasn't living his life the way I thought he should with my gift of life, right?
Your kidney.
Yeah, I gave him my kidney and he just started drinking like crazy because he could.
Because it's a fresh one.
Yeah, eating.
Fill it up.
Well, that's what it was. He had a new lease on life and he was excited to be able to live his life again. And I was like, well, no, this needs to last you. I don't want you to go anywhere. This is why I did this. So I was playing the victim.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to be doing it this way. And it was like, I was the victim. And it wasn't until I realized, well, I did this because I love him and I wanted him to be happy the rest of his life. That is what he's doing. So it wasn't until I spoke to him about it and told him, this is how I feel. I would rather you not do it in front of me, which is still playing victim,
Yeah.
that we spoke about it and got on the same terms. And now it's just like, oh, you want to be your dad? Okay, here. You know, like I've gotten to the point now where it's like, I did it because I wanted him to live, but I also did it because he gave me a new lease on my life because I was always playing the victim. It wasn't until we had this butting of heads that I realized it.
You gave with an expectation for me.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
going to say.
Yeah.
Like giving with an
Yeah.
expectation.
Which is what entitlement is, right?
Yeah.
And it's just another extension of victimhood.
I gotta go back to the I'm sorry, feeling
Yeah.
sorry for somebody. Gabby, my precious little Gabby. That's her favorite saying, I'm sorry. And I have to
That's
say,
the Canadian in her.
I know, but it's the way she does it. Her and Mike got into a conversation a while back, and he said something in a particular tone that didn't agree with her, and she kind of stopped in. She looked and she goes, "Daddy, I am so sorry for your personality." So there's a compassionate way of saying it. That was like when she was about 8.
And she survived? Because I'd be dead.
Yeah, I'm so sorry for your personality. What did he? How did he respond? I don't remember. I keep the list.
He
of
probably
Gabby's
just
sayings.
laughed. He
I think
probably laughed.
She says hilarious stuff.
What about the karma that's is so deeply hidden? Like I have something that I want to do, and I am so ready to do it and just gung ho, but there's still something hidden deep down that I can't get to change. So when I look at this law, I don't know how that applies to things that are very.
So I think for you, it comes back to that line, can be the wisdom to rise above your karma. It's having an awareness. See, bravery maybe doesn't seem to be a part of this, but bravery is not the absence of fear. It's recognizing you are fearful and acting anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So bravery in this instance would be recognizing that you are impairing your capacity to move forward, but doing it anyway.
And I do recognize that.
I think that's the step, though. It's the wisdom. And as you act in it, like the reason affirmations are successful, the reason they work is because as you continue to state them, you change your position. And as you continue to act in doing whatever this project is, the block will be released.
Okay, we'll see. Because I've had multiple healings around it, and I've also been stepping in and doing that, acting as if and so on.
Yeah. And you're acting, so just keep acting. And you tell yourself you love you while you're in the midst of it?
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
It could also, I wonder.
Getting into that depth of the karma. That could be part of the journey is accepting that, you're going to have to do this
Because
X amount of time.
we carry karma in very layers of our being, right? So you have the psychic, the spiritual, religion, the relationships, the financial realms, the body realms, and non-endowment. But there's some that are just so deep, it's hard to find the roots and seeds of your issue and to pull them up.
So Macon would say that we don't need to understand the seed.
No, you don't need to understand it. There's got to be
We don't even need to know what it is.
No, but there's got to be a way to release it, I would think.
He would say you release it through love.
And wouldn't too, the more energy you give to it, by constantly thinking about how am I going to release this, the more you're verifying that it's there.
Because it acknowledges that
You're
it exists,
acknowledging
right?
constantly.
And so you
Energy.
manifest that block continuing.
Exactly.
Because when you first asked that, I was thinking that there's an egoic component. And to that, I really mean that there's some aspect of you that's attached to having this block. It kind of makes you who you are. You call it your really deep-seated karma. Therefore, it makes you the beautiful soul that you are. Why would you want to release what makes you beautiful? Do you know what I mean? And if we just say, oh, I used to, like, this is where I come back to what I always say, which is in the past. In the past, I had a block around this. And just feeling a slight shift. And when you recognize that you're having that blocked response again, ooh, in the past, I was blocked on this. Oh, look at that. I do actually believe now that that was in the past. Because when we attach to it, we plant those seeds into the future. And you harvest that again, which you don't want, clearly, which is why we're talking about it. So to manifest something different in the past might be a tack to take.
But you also have to understand that it presents itself when it's needed. You're not supposed to go looking for it. When you're ready to deal with it, that's when it will present itself. Because when you go and looking for it, that's when you're trying to take control of what's going on with you. You're not
Control is
supposed
such
to
a
do that.
factor.
It's gonna come up, so that's when you deal with it one at a time. Because what if there's something more important for you to deal with at this particular time? That you have to deal with it now to be able to move forward. But you're too busy looking so deep inside that you don't see what is in front of you. What needs to get taken care of. So just love yourself the way you are and just allow yourself to go through the motions as they're happening, rather than looking, what is it that you need to work on? Because it will present itself no matter what.
Thank you.
The next line reads, within physical and spiritual laws, you can manifest any reality you desire to experience. In regard to changing your behavior, you must decide which disharmonious behavior you want to eliminate. You can manifest any reality you desire to experience. Do we believe that?
I have a question around that.
Yeah.
Exact sentence.
Let's hear it.
I tend to believe that when it comes to like creating financial wellness or, you know, bringing relationships into your life or things like that. But when it comes to things of like the physical body, like illness, for example, can you create something to not happen? So like you don't want to get sick. You know, there's massive flu bugs going around like crazy and everybody's like puking everywhere. Can you create the situation that you don't get sick?
You can.
When you look at all the different things in medical reports about people being instantly healed with stage 4 cancer just because they found somewhere within themselves that peace and that understanding that they can change, and they do. But what I found the most interesting studies I found was with people with dissociative identity disorder or multiple personality disorder. They can transfer from one personality and have stage 4 cancer and then transfer to the other personality and have total health. Wow. And that's what that means. Yes, they can go from one to the other. The one needs eyeglasses, one doesn't. One has blue eyes, one has green eyes. The one has diabetes that's life-threatening, the other one doesn't. There was a thing about a surgery. The one had a tumor. They put them under anesthetic, and when they went under anesthetic and they would look for the tumor with the ultrasound, it was gone. And then they would bring them back out, and then they have a tumor again because the personality believed they had a tumor.
The mind is deeply powerful.
Faith is a powerful thing.
And as we believe, we create.
So who had it? Was it really a tumor?
The one personality did. So what they had.
It's the reality. Remember just a minute ago we were talking about how you felt everybody was calm and I felt everybody was agitated?
Yes.
Reality, there's no absolute. Reality is not an absolute state. It is constantly transforming depending on your perspective. So when that soul was in the body that was sick, it was sick. It was truly sick.
Well, what was the diagnosis? Was there actually a tumor?
Yes.
Yes.
What they did is because they couldn't get around her belief system, is they put her underneath anesthesia. They put a little scar in her body, and they told her that this tumor was removed, and she no longer had it.
Amazing.
The mind is an amazing thing.
My husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2005. And when he got the diagnosis, we were given the diagnosis in the office and neither one of us cried. Then we went out to the car and I started to cry a bit. Then he drove back to work
And as he was driving back to work, he drove through the country and he saw these cornfields, and he said to himself, I created this, I'm going to uncreate it. He did not have surgery.
Yeah.
He was a workaholic all the time. He worked for 48 hours once over my birthday at the office. There was some crisis, computer crisis, whatever. But he changed. He started walking. He started, neighbors gave him a bicycle, yada, yada. He changed his diet, which he'd done in the 80s when he had a tumor in his mouth. He started meditating. He started working on the way he was thinking. And he did not have the surgery. And every time he'd go to the urologist, he'd say, you gotta have the surgery, you gotta have the surgery. And my husband said, no, I don't. It's my body. And then the urologist would say to him, you're too skinny. And he'd say, you're skinny, to the doctor. And the doctor was quite kind of getting annoyed with him. And then over time, the doctor started just, stepping back and not kind of riding him so much about, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. And my husband made his choice, and that. But he admits the other day, he said to me, he's kind of gotten off track of it because of the meditating and all that stuff. But that was, I think the mind is very powerful. There
are hundreds of stories of miracle healings that come from a shift in perspective. And, it's very deep work. And you have to look at yourself in all your darkest, ugliest spots in many cases. Yeah.
There's also a theory too about the flus and the colds that go around that. And it's everybody that is like you're purging certain issues. And anybody that's ready to purge that issue will end up getting sick. And anybody that's not ready to purge that issue won't. So I don't know if it's true.
And there's a theory too that you have those experiences because your body is begging for a day off.
Exactly.
And the only way you will spend the day in bed is if you are constantly throwing up. So therefore, you are made to throw up so that you spend the day in bed so your body gets the rest it needs.
That I know to be true. I haven't been sick. I don't get sick until I'm good.
In the past.
I really don't, but it's usually right after I have done like some kind of extreme something and I've been kind of working overtime. And then next thing you know, I'm kicked to the curb for 24 hours because I refuse to be kicked to the curb any longer. But that's usually I'm like, well, I guess my body's telling me I needed a break. And tea and toast.
But you also regularly take breaks. Like you just came back from a week in the sun.
Yes.
Right? Like you do that, which not everybody does. And it's not.
I guess I work there too a little bit.
But it's different. You are outside. You are outside of your daily stressors. You're outside of the daily expectations. You're outside of daily requirements. So the rest that you take there, like you probably got up when you wanted to, you went to bed when you wanted to, rather than have to get X, Y, and Z finished. I must get up at this time, need to pack those lunches, whatever. All of those expectations were removed. Therefore, your body was resting. Yeah. Did I see you with your hand up? Or no?
Oh, I just wanted to share that, like the summer flu has been going through my house for the last 2 weeks. All three of my children and my husband have had it twice. I have been the caretaker and the cleaner-upper, and I've been telling myself that I'm not getting this. Like, I can't get this. It's not happening this time. I always get it. Oh no, I'm good. I would never have thought that it was like, the power of intention or whatever, right? Yeah. But I swear that's what I feel like has happened this time because they have been like on their deathbed. I'm like, oh God. And they're all through it now and I'm still not sick. So I'm like, it's quite a, yeah.
I think the power of intention is so strong. And I'm just going to go back to that. I think I told you that when I first got the flu. I've had it twice this year. So
she's done.
Lots of stuff to release. However, do you remember when I did that wedding interview? I knew it was coming. I had a really sore throat. I had 2 couples interview the day after the throat hit. And I'm like, I can't get sick. I can't get sick. Went and did the 2 interviews, came home and died. So the power of intention was so strong there that I was able to go and do 2 interviews. And then
die.
And then die. Yes.
Tracy, back to your question. The last part of this line says you must decide which disharmonious behavior you want to eliminate. So the key is, in my opinion, less about preventative protection and more about how am I contributing to this experience? What disharmonious belief, pattern, action am I engaging in that allows for this to happen?
How do you figure that out?
It's a great question.
Especially when you are surrounded by amazing people, you've done all the right things to bring yourself to a certain point, and you have found you're awakened and on all of that. You've done all of the things and you've been happy, like really happy.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you?
So coming back to the start of our conversation here today, we were talking about acceptance and surrender. So the first part to allow that miracle healing is to accept that this condition exists. Because when we get these diagnoses, the cancer diagnoses, most people's knee-jerk reaction is, I don't want this, I'm not having this, I'm done with this, I'm getting rid of this. Not, I accept you and love you so I can release you. We have to accept and surrender first in order to release.
Well, and with cancer in kids, they've done all kinds of stuff for visualization, right? So your body is amazing. We have all these things within our immune system that are designed to fight these diseases. But we, as adults, kind of lose, I think, that ability. But they found with kids that they can really make them
because kids believe all this stuff.
Kids believe it. So they can see what their white blood cells look like, and they can see them as atacular cells, and they can recognize they've got a tumor or they've got a disease, and kids can picture those cells going out as a team and beating up that tumor and getting rid of it, and it works. It works so well.
I heard a story of a little boy. His mom would tell him that if you imagine the Pac-Man, this Pac-Man eating it away, this Pac-Man is very powerful.
Yeah.
He can beat ghosts, he can eat them.
Yeah.
And he cleared himself of it. And every night she would say, "Go to sleep. You know what happens? Pac-Man comes and eats up all of this, everything." I don't know what she gave him, something or whatever. But anyways,
But in order for that visualization to work, there is first the authentic acknowledgement that I have this.
Yeah.
There is that acceptance and understanding, so that you can then see Pac-Man eating it away. You can see the white blood cells in the team and armor going out and fighting it. They have to accept it first. We have 2 minutes left in this discussion, and there's still a sentence to cover. Shall we move forward? Is everybody okay with this? Okay. So the last line says, then be aware that you don't have to change how you feel about something to affect it, if you are willing to change what you are doing.
I see it almost like we visualize a circle. We have our feelings, our beliefs, or our thoughts, our beliefs that generate our feelings. I believe I have bad karma. It makes me feel a certain way. I believe I'm a loving person. I feel a certain way. That leads us to our behavior, which then, based on our behavior, brings back to us what is the mirroring of our belief. If I believe that I'm an unkind person, I'm going to feel a certain way, I'm going to behave a certain way, and people are going to respond to me a certain way. If I believe that I'm a loving person, then the same thing. I'm going to feel excited. I'm going to feel a certain way. I'm going to behave a certain way to life situations, and other people are going to respond to me in a kinder way. So when we're off, let's say when we're kind of like in an off space, so, you give them this diagnosis of something bad's happened in their life. So we have choices. How are we going to think about it? How do we believe about it? But do we find ourselves in those moments of, when do we catch ourselves, for me, is my issue. So do we catch ourselves, all of a sudden I'm stuck in this moment, this victim thinking and nonsense. It's like, for me, that's like, oh, stop that. Like, stop. Or do I catch myself being nasty and a bad behavior kind of thing? And then, it's our resilience, as we become more consciously awake. It's not the way we may not fall into these little traps and darkened moments or periods of time, but how do we catch ourselves?
I don't know. I
back
feel
and
like
stop?
part of the human experience is to have that dark moment.
Yeah.
And to not say stop, but to say, oh, I love you.
But it's, for me, it's to stop the action.
You
And
stop
then to
the
refocus
action
it
by
And
saying,
say, oh my gosh,
I
I
love
forgive
you.
myself for my need of drama. I forgive myself. And then
Before
I
the forgiveness is the love.
Okay.
It really is the most important emotion. The love.
Wasn't it in the summer last year by the lake when we were loving our cough? Or
It was in here at
was
Thanksgiving.
Thankful for
Thank you for the symptom.
Thank you for the symptom.
Yeah.
Which I've been trying to figure out how to get rid of this for 3 days, and I think I'm going to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't accept it. I was mad at it.
Right. Thank you.
So mad makes it bigger.
I know.
What a perfect moment to end on. It's 11:11, everyone. Now, Doreen Virtue will tell you that 11:11 means to be cautious of your thoughts because they are manifesting immediately. So holding you all in the accepting love and light, and we'll see you next week.